This is the great city of Tokyo. Tokyo is known by many as the largest urban area in the world. With over 37 million people living here, Tokyo has a population that surpasses many entire countries. At the same time, Tokyo is often described as one of the most livable major cities, not only because of its size, but because of its cleanliness, safety, highly efficient public transportation, and dense, walkable neighborhoods.
After a long flight, I was like, wow. Crowds and crowds of people, traffic, go-karts, a literal sea of motion. This is the Tokyo that most people imagine.
But how did a place that started as a small coastal settlement grow into the largest urban region on Earth, without falling into the same problems that affect many megacities, like constant traffic congestion, heavy pollution, or endless urban sprawl? Most people point to the rebuilding efforts after World War II and the 1923 Great Kantō Earthquake as the main explanation. And while those moments were important, they are only part of the story. From Edo to what we now call Tokyo. Before it was Tokyo, the city was known as Edo. To understand how this megacity formed, we go back to the early 1600s, when Tokugawa Ieyasu made a decision that set everything in motion. He chose Edo as his political base. Even though the imperial court remained in Kyoto, real political power had already shifted. Edo became the center of authority in Japan, and that shift transformed both its population and its urban structure. By the mid-1700s, Edo had already become one of the largest cities in the world, with a population of over 1 million. That number was extraordinary for its time, especially in a largely agrarian society. This growth was not accidental. It was driven by the feudal system. Large numbers of samurai, officials, and servants were required to live in Edo, creating a dense concentration of elite residents near the shogun's center of power. At the same time, merchants, artisans, and laborers supported this system. To manage this, Edo was divided into different districts. Samurai and daimyo lived in lower-density residential zones, often separated by wide roads and moats, with gardens and open space reflecting their status. In contrast, commoner districts were dense and mixed-use. These areas followed a grid pattern built around small blocks called cho. Each block covered around 128,000 square feet and housed hundreds of people, along with shops and workshops. The streets were narrow and irregular, partly by design. This made it harder for large groups to move quickly through the city, slowing down any threat to the political center. This early structure created a pattern of mixed use, high-density development that allowed Edo to grow without endless outward expansion. Even after the shogunate ended, this pattern continued to shape Tokyo's development. The period of rapid modernization. In the late 19th century, everything changed again.
It blends shopping, dining, and a rooftop park all in one.
Japan entered a period of rapid transformation known as the Meiji Restoration. As the country opened to the world, it adopted technologies and planning ideas from Western nations. Tokyo, renamed from Edo in 1868, became the capital and the center of this transformation. The city introduced paved roads, sidewalks, sewer systems, and wider boulevards inspired by European cities like Paris and London. Railways, bridges, and public buildings expanded rapidly. More importantly, formal planning systems were introduced. In 1919, the Tokyo City Planning Act created a national framework to regulate development. It introduced zoning and land readjustment. Unlike strict Western zoning, Tokyo allowed mixed use. Residential areas could include small businesses and light industry, as long as they did not create major problems. This preserved walkability and density. Land readjustment allowed small land plots to be reorganized for roads and infrastructure. then returned to owners with improved value. This made large-scale modernization possible without major displacement. Disaster and how the city rebuilt itself. Then came disaster,
triggering a tsunami that inflicted further damage. In all, more than 19,000 people lost their lives in one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded.
The Great Kantō Earthquake killed around 100,000 people and left about 2.5 million homeless. Large parts of Tokyo and Yokohama were destroyed. Rebuilding plans included wider streets, parks, and modern layouts. But financial and political limits meant many areas were rebuilt using original patterns. Then, during World War II, Tokyo was devastated again. Firebombing in 1944 and 1945 destroyed around 60% of the city. The March 9, 1945 raid alone killed over 100,000 people in a single night. By the end of the war, Tokyo was in ruins. Planners proposed ambitious redesigns, including decentralized cities with green belts. But these plans were never fully realized due to economic pressure and post-war conditions. Instead, Tokyo rebuilt itself from the ground up. Local communities restored neighborhoods with minimal central planning, often following older layouts. The result was not a perfectly planned city, but a flexible and adaptive one. The economic boom that followed. After 1952, Japan entered a period of rapid economic growth. From the mid-1950s to early 1970s, Tokyo expanded quickly. Millions moved from rural areas to the city. The population grew from around 3.5 million in 1945 to nearly 9.7 million by the mid-1960s. Transportation became the key challenge. Instead of relying on highways, Tokyo focused on rail. Systems like Tokyo Metro expanded, connecting suburbs to the city center. The 1964 Summer Olympics accelerated infrastructure development, including the Tokaido Shinkansen linking Tokyo and Osaka. Today, public transit dominates. This approach allowed Tokyo to grow while avoiding extreme congestion. How zoning and regulation shaped the city. In 1968, a new planning law introduced a more detailed zoning system with 12 categories controlling height, density, and land use. But Tokyo maintained flexibility. Mixed use remained allowed, preserving dense and walkable neighborhoods. Urban growth followed rail lines, creating a compact form. Land readjustment and small-scale redevelopment allowed gradual change without disrupting housing supply. The culture behind Tokyo's buildings. Beyond planning, culture also shaped Tokyo. Frequent earthquakes led to strict building codes and shorter building lifespans. Structures are often replaced after 30 to 40 years, while land retains value. Cultural ideas like muj, meaning impermanence, encourage constant renewal rather than preservation. In the end, Tokyo developed not as a single center, but as a network of multiple centers. Tokyo's story is not just about becoming the largest city in the world. It is about how a city can grow with intention, adapt through crisis, and remain functional at a scale that seems impossible. And that is it for today's video. Do not forget to like the video and subscribe for more.